I saw a movie, so you didn't have to, and this is a movie you may want to go see. First of all, it's not going to take a lot of your time, and second of all, it is a very humorous comedy with a lot of violence. It is Nobody 2, and I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. So, here we go! Now, before we get started, double check you're still subscribed to the channel, Culturians, because a lot of you have been unsubscribed and you don't even know it. So just double check, turn on all the notifications, and hit the thumbs up button because you're going to appreciate this one. First, I get to talk positively about something, a movie. Movies are hard to come by these days. A lot of them are just slop propaganda dressed up as, well, pretend entertainment, and we've had far too much of that for far too long, and some of them have pretended to be superhero films. I know, surprising. But in this case, nobody lives up to the previous film, for the most part. Now, there's about a 3 to 5 minute window you could probably check out of at the very end of the film and be a little happier, but overall, I wasn't disappointed. From beginning to end, this was a movie that is going to live up to what came before. And that's hard to say. The action was top-notch. The performances by the actors and actresses, stellar, especially the family. The family really plays great roles in this one, and we get introduced to some characters I think we want to stick around. This franchise, I think Bob Odenkirk has it correctly, is worthy of more sequels. I think you're going to end up with a 4 or 5 film deal here, a quintology. Although I think Bob Odenkirk was shooting for 4, I think we can get at least 3 more. We really need to understand a little bit more about the mom now, especially after this film, and about the world from which the Dutch clan came from. Believe it or not, it sort of feels like we're picking up right where we left off, with Dutch owing an enormous amount of money because, well, he burned up a pile of money. By the way, that seems to be a running theme in this franchise, and the people he owes it to are people he knows. It seems like he's still working within the same organization that he tried to walk away from, and for good reason. And since we're picking up where we left off, we have a debt problem, and it needs to be resolved. We also have a lot of interesting characters we get introduced to, and some of them are maybe going to be new allies in the future. Of course, as you've already seen in the trailer itself, they're off for a family vacation, kind of one that they really absolutely needed, and especially Dutch, who just seems to work each day of the week and frustrating his family each and every day. And since we're sticking with the trailer, we run across a town that he had vacationed in with his family when he was a youngster, along with his brother. And they go to a place called Plummerville. And believe it or not, it's a water park, the oldest water park, along with an arcade and a lot of other ways to unwind. Doesn't seem like that's something that Dutch is ever allowed to do. Although he tries. And at every single step, he tries to do what would be the right thing for his character. And yet, he does what is ultimately and morally the right thing each and every time. So anytime you think he's gonna zig, he does. He zags. And that's what we love about him. And unfortunately, Plummerville turns out to be, well, a hub, or a quote-unquote route, to get from one place to another with illicit items, no matter what it happens to be. And the town is controlled by a person who seems to be just a bad guy, except that's not actually what's going on. There are multiple layers of bad guy in here, and by the time you're through the first act, you're pretty tuned into what's going on and who's actually in charge. Now, because of the pace of the film, because like I said, it's pretty short, they had to get a lot done in a tiny little period of time. And this certainly could have worked as a streaming movie, but it's much better as a movie because you have a reason to go to the theaters. And for a change, it's not a horror movie. Although, there's a little bit of horror in there, at least some body horror, some discomfort for me while I was watching the film. But hey, I mean, you know, I don't like to miss things, and somebody's going to be missing something really fast. And true to form, this film gives you like all the little inconveniences that could possibly happen, and yet our friend Dutch just powers through. And as the Mansells get through this new adventure, everybody kind of takes on a familiar role, only in a broader way or a bigger way. And Mrs. Mansell is impressive. There aren't going to be a lot of surprises here. There's definitely going to be some things that you may groan at, but for the most part, the girl boss in this film is A, acted very well, and B, inoffensive. Because you're allowed to have female bad guys and still not be gynocentric. And believe it or not, this film really isn't. Of course, when you work into the third act or the finale of this film, the pace hasn't slowed down. The violence certainly hasn't. And the situations that the Mansell family finds themselves in don't get any easier. And whether or not this is something that can feel a little bit predictable at times or seems to be super stuck in the 80s, it is at all times entertaining. And believe it or not, you're going to find yourself a dog to love. One or the other. And I know you don't get that now, but if you see the film, you will. So let's round out and get to the most important part of my review. Did I enjoy it? Well, yes. In fact, I'm going to give it some very high ratings in comparison to some other films I've reviewed this year. This is going to be another 6.5. It's something worth seeing. It's not anything you should avoid. If you are looking for something good to see this weekend, this falls in the good category. It's over 5. It's above average. And it has a lot of really fun times. So much so that I may see it again. And I don't often get to say that about movies. Bob Odenkirk is actually underappreciated as an actor because in every single role he's ever been in, he's slayed it. He's been on top of it. He's killed it. And he's mastered this one. And I think this is another good character for Saul Goodman to take over in his new persona. So a 6.5, maybe a 7 if I sleep on it a little bit, but it really doesn't disappoint. And if you waited till streaming, well, you would have to wait a little while longer, but I think you'd be equally, if not more, entertained because you'd be able to back up and watch some parts again that seem to be, well, ridiculous masterpieces when it comes to violence. Because of the depth that they present to everybody in this film, I think that you're going to see there's a lot more there than you see in most of these built for franchise films. And of course, if you pin it down to the 5-star system, this film is going to fall, believe it or not, at 3.5 stars. Why? Well, because it's going to get the extra little bump. It did the extra little bits that make you appreciate it. And what I really appreciated about this is nothing was superfluous. It was all done on time, probably in budget, and at a speed, at least as far as pacing goes, that I think everybody will appreciate. If my watch was right, this movie is less than 90 minutes long. It's getting closer to the traditional 86 that I prefer, and is opening the door to studios giving their all in the shortest period of time and in a reasonable budget. The practical effects on this were bonkers, and every single moment of every single stunt is enjoyable, and nothing feels out of place, overly CGI. There's not any odd imagery that shows up on the screen, and I think those are all the various reasons why it gets that extra little bump in the star rating. So if you're looking for something this weekend to see that is just going to be pure joy, this film is probably it. And as I say during one of these, I saw a movie so you didn't have to, but on this one, you may want to go see it. It's worth it. Take that $7 and spend it well. And as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya! Hopefully at the movies, Culturians.